Hey guys, so if you're a songwriter or an artist who always has a lot of songs or projects that are on the back burner, you abandon them or you never get to finish them, then I got some tips and tricks today and some plans, some real strategies to help turn that around. Because when it comes to being an artist and you're doing it all yourself, a musician, you're releasing it, recording it yourself, it's a hard job. But if you get behind, it starts to pile up and gets even harder and harder, and then you get in a mental rut, and you can't get in that situation. So there's a lot of ways to get out of it. I've had this problem in the past. I still kind of do, but I've tackled a lot of it with a lot of these strategies we're going to talk about today. But I'm just responding to a comment in my last video about abandoning songs that you're in the middle of working on and just never getting to the finishing line. And there's a lot of problems with that. One of the biggest things is the mental problem that comes from there. You don't get in the habit of finishing things, and that becomes acceptable to you. So if you turn that around and you force yourself to finish something, then you get in the habit. It's like a muscle. You get in the habit of becoming a closer, becoming a finisher. No matter what it takes, you finish that song. Even if it's not going to be great. If it's complete garbage, yeah, fine, throw it out. That's fine. But if it's something that could be at least good, just get to the finish line of it before you start something else. It's always chasing the new shiny object, okay? You come up with a new song idea when you're struggling with an old one, and you always fall in love with it, and I think every musician, every artist knows how that feels. You always want to just jump to the exciting new thing, which is fine in the beginning, but after numerous years, if you're writing songs for a long time, it gets to the point where you have a backlog of unfinished, unreleased material, and then it starts to become really overwhelming. So you got to have an organized strategy to get that going. I think number one would be simply listing out all the potential ideas you have, all these unfinished songs, all the unfinished recordings. You list them all out, right? And then put a little note on the side of it, whether it's songwriting or whether it's a recording, of kind of the percentage done. Like, is this, you put it in categories where, is this one half done? Is this one barely complete? Is this one like, it only needs 4 or 5 words in the last verse before you call it finished? Organize the songs that you have or the projects you have by how close they are to completion. And I suggest doing kind of like a Dave Ramsey that snowball, where you pick off the easiest ones first, and then you get the momentum rolling with the easy stuff. Okay, because you burn yourself out if you start with a song that needs like hours and hours and hours and days of work, or recording that needs the same thing. Instead of burning yourself out and still being overwhelmed at the end with all the stuff you got to do, if you get a few quick wins early on, then you start to have the momentum. You start to feel a little bit more confident. You start to be less afraid to finish something. A lot of the finishing comes from the fear of failure or the fear of success or the fear of being judged at the end of it, when saying, it's one thing saying you have a safety curtain where safety blanket where it's oh, this song is not quite done, so you say that so you're not judged as hard. But when it's like, okay, this song is done, then it's out there, it's like out there for the world to see, then it's a little bit more scary. Or at least for me it was. Maybe for you it's the same, where it's like, I don't have any excuses anymore. This is what it is. Take it or leave it. And if you don't want the criticism, you just got to power through it and force yourself to release it. Force yourself to complete it. And then you get that momentum. You keep going, and you can move on to the next one. Knock off the easiest ones first, and then get to the harder ones. Get to the harder ones, and then if you keep that consistency, then at least you'll see it getting better. Okay, you'll see yourself going from an artist who has a bunch of ideas to an artist who has a bunch of actual real world products, to say the least. But now, if the main reason you're not finishing songs is a psychological thing, there's a great comment in the last video that uses the word treat the song like it has a journalistic quality, right? So you're being a journalist of yourself. This song is a realistic representation of me and my abilities and my thought process, my poetic abilities, my singing abilities, everything, at that exact moment. So in that case, you won't be as stuck in the whole perfectionist thing. So sometimes that perfectionism keeps you from finishing the songs as well. So if it's a psychological thing, you got to get to the root of that. And I've talked about that in the last video, but there's a great comment where it calls it, just see yourself as being a journalist. Okay, this is a representation of who I am right now. Therefore, it is perfect in this moment. So that's the perfection that you need. I'm capturing who I am as an artist and a musician at this time, and I'm presenting it to the world. In that case, you don't have to be like, oh, I'm not good enough for this one yet. That's why I'm not finishing songs. Or, oh, if I got a little bit better at music theory, then I can make a better transition and stuff like that. You could always do that in the future. But right now, if you take it as a snapshot of this is who I am and with my abilities right now, then you have less excuses mentally to be like, I'm not going to finish that. I'm going to put it aside. You can't have those excuses either, because then that's just another reason to keep piling up more trash in the to-do list as somebody who's trying to do everything by yourself. It's already hard enough. Don't make it harder on yourself. Something that helped me in the past was actually, if you have a bunch of songs or a bunch of song ideas, even if it's 4 or 5 or 6, sometimes you find out that those songs, like 2 out of 3 of them, or 2 out of 6 of them, you could piece together into one. Like, this song idea becomes the bridge. Like this, you have a really catchy verse, right? But the chorus you wrote for it is not quite it. Or maybe the next song idea that you are working on fits perfectly with it. You just change the key or have a little transition, and then you piece those little bits together, and then you kill 2 birds with 1 stone, and you make a better song overall because you're taking the strongest parts of each song, putting them together into 2 really strong parts, and then you have a really good song. You know what I mean? And then do whatever additions to it and get it done when it comes to the songwriting aspect of it. If you're stuck on lyrics, don't overthink lyrics too much. I know it's always, as an artist, it's got to be perfect. This isn't quite right. You could always go back and rewrite it. You could always go back and rewrite it, and that's what editing is anyway. But if you have a finished first draft, let's say, at least the song is finished. From start to finish, you could perform it, you could record it. Okay? If you're having trouble with lyrics, just go to a coffee shop for, 3 hours or something like that. Play like a scratch tape that you have of it in your headphones, write until you get the right words. Just make it your mission to I'm not going to leave this coffee shop until I finish this verse. Finish these 2 verses. Have my official first draft so I could say the song is done. Like we said in the last video, you could always go back and fix things. You could always go back and improve things. But if you get in the habit and build that muscle to actually finish things, even if it's the first draft or something that could be fixed better, actually finish it, then it's done, move on to the next. So I speak with experience. I found this out the hard way to the point where I had 20, 30 different songs. None of them finished, nothing to show for it. A lot of them, need a lot of work. A lot of them need a little bit of work, but at the end, the result is the same. Nothing is released. And the alternative is you abandon something when you don't finish it because you don't think it's good enough or, you forget about it, whatever it is. The result is still the same. You have nothing to show. You have nothing released. That's not an alternative. That's not an option. We can't do that anymore. So the more you finish things, the more you release things, the more you'll get in the habit and see yourself as somebody who finishes some things and see yourself as someone who doesn't accept leaving something hanging. If that's not in your character, if you do something enough, then it becomes who you are. So if you are a closer, if you're a finisher of projects, then you will start to do that every time. You start with the easiest ones first, then you watch yourself become that person who finishes things, closes things, to the point where there's nothing left in the back catalog or the back burner of the unfinished stuff. Then you're up to date, you are current with your writing. You're only writing new stuff, so you're also more excited about that. Everything is current to how you feel, how you think, your current musical capabilities. It's more exciting. You could expand more as an artist. And then from your experience of tackling that mess of unfinished stuff in the past, you've got the experience of knowing what it is to close and finish a song and release a song. So now every new thing you do, finish it. And you're already in the habit of not letting that happen again. Don't let the clutter pile up in your room. Don't let the clutter pile up in your head. Don't let the clutter pile up in your catalog or your future catalog that should be moving forward. So didn't really plan that out, so probably repeated myself 400 times, but I think it's worth repeating. Get in the habit of finishing things. Don't abandon things. Get them done. Easiest to hardest. And then you're current. You have no more things in the back of your head being like, oh, I have so much to do as an artist trying to do it all by myself. No, you're just in the moment. You're writing new stuff, and you're finishing every new thing you do. Then it won't happen again because you know how to get it done. Hopefully that helps, like I said. See you soon.